What is the Conserver oil purification system? Patented and third-party validated, the Conserver H-Series oil purification system cleans and dries oil and hydraulic fluids at a rated efficiency while extending drainage periods dramatically. The bypass oil filtration system is scalable and adaptable to a wide variety of applications, including gasoline and diesel engines, turbines, transformers, generators, and all hydraulic systems. The Conserver extends the life of oil and lubrications, protects the environment, and significantly cuts the total cost of ownership through reduced equipment wear and maintenance costs. How does it work? The system is designed with two active oil purification processes. The first is a specially designed microglass element that collects particulates. Engine oil life is greatly extended because the Conserver removes fine particulate matter down to 3 microns, contrasted to 40 microns filtration of standard OEM filters. The second active process is the patented moisture removal chamber. The fluid passes through the chamber where the moisture is separated from the oil through evaporation and then removed from the system. The Conserver removes water as an ongoing process, including emulsified, dissolved, and free water from lubricating liquids. Have you ever heard the old saying, oil and water don't mix? Well, they do, and when that mixture occurs within a vehicle engine, the results can be disastrous. At Next Generation Filtration Systems, we use our technical knowledge, application expertise, production and engineering capability to consistently deliver high-quality, high-performance products that will fit any industry need. Taking care of business. Our focus is creating tailored systems for every customer. So let's make sure your equipment is mission ready by walking you through the installation of a Conserver H-Series oil purification system. Today we'll be installing the system on a commercial tractor trailer. Keep in mind, the systems are scalable and adaptable to a wide variety of applications. The installation process typically takes an hour from the beginning of the installation through the road testing. The engine does not need to be cold to perform the installation. Although the system installation can take place at any time, Next Generation Filtration Systems recommends the installation of the unit immediately following a vehicle oil change. Once the unit is properly installed and maintained, you will find there is little to do regarding adjustments other than replacing the particulate filter every 2,000 hours of operation, once a year or when the oil analysis requires a change. If the filter element is not changed as scheduled, it will void the warranty. Before you begin, Next Generation Filtration Systems strongly recommends that a certified mechanic or an authorized dealer complete the installation process for the best results and efficient installation. Improper installation may void warranty. Preceding the installation, inspect all packages and Conserver for any defects or damage. If a defect or damage is found, do not install the unit and contact Next Generation Filtration Systems immediately. Read the installation manual thoroughly before you begin the installation process. The manual is a guide to assist you through the installation process. Always follow industry best practices and applicable safety standards. Be sure to evaluate your engine and vehicle specifications prior to installation. There may be different engine applications and configurations, so additional fittings or components may be needed for installation. Please call our tech line at 412-548-1659 should you have any questions or concerns. Let's get started. Locating a proper mounting location. The Conserver must be mounted in a vertical upright position. The top can be identified by holding the unit vertically. The two hose fittings can now be seen on the top of the unit. The system should be securely mounted to the frame or body of semi-tractors. Heavy equipment may have other locations for proper installation. Make sure the location is above the level of the engine oil pan and near the engine's OEM full flow oil filter assembly, allowing for proper drainage back to the pan or engine block. Allow at least 3 inches below the filter housing for filter changes. Make sure there is clearance around the conserver and that the hood and inner fender wells clear the system and close properly. Mounting the frame. You will find a template included with the installation manual. Use the template to determine your drill points. You may also choose to hold the unit to the frame and scribe the drill locations. Regardless of the method you choose, Next Generation Filtration Systems recommends drilling pilot holes before you drill the final holes for the mounting bolts. In the case of a double frame, or if you choose to install the conserver in a location other than the frame, make sure the final location of the system is away from any heat source or moving engine and vehicle components. You don't have to worry about shielding the system from the elements. The conserver is not affected by weather. Hose installation for oil supply and return. When securing the hoses with P-fasteners or zip ties where appropriate, make sure you keep them away from any heat source or moving parts. Double check to make certain all hose routings are smooth and have no kinks. Check that all fittings and connections are tight. All plugs that are removed are to be replaced with an approved hose fitting. Now you can install the oil supply hose. This hose must be a 1/4 inch high temp 400 psi rated hose. The oil supply hose connects to the bottom left fittings on the conserver manifold. The other end connects to an engine oil pressure port off the OEM full flow filter. Connecting to a selected oil pressure source may require the use of a T-fitting, replacing a plug with a hose fitting, or use of an adapter fitting to connect the supply hose. Now you're ready to install the oil return hose. This hose must also be a 1/2 inch high temperature 400 psi rated hose. The oil return hose is located on the bottom right of the conserver manifold. The hose must be routed in a progressive downward slope so clean oil is returned to a chosen port on the engine through gravity. Return line options include at the engine oil pan port, crankcase port, oil fill tube, oil drain plug port, or any other suitable oil port return. Now you should be ready to complete the evaporation chamber hose connection. Air feed and valve cover preparation. Locate the 2 fittings on top of the conserver evaporation chamber. These fittings are interchangeable. One must connect to the engine air intake between the filter and the turbo. Next Generation Filtration Systems recommends removing the air restriction gauge, installing a 1/8 inch NPT T-fitting, connecting the hose, and reinstalling the air restriction gauge. The other fitting should be connected to the engine's valve cover. Before the hose installation can take place, find a safe location on the engine's valve cover and drill an 11/32 hole and tap it with a 1/8 inch NPT threads to accept a 1/8 inch male NPT fitting, and then install the fitting. You will run the hoses to both using a 1/4 inch high temp 400 psi rated hose. After you have checked the length of the hose runs and installed the hoses with fittings, you can now secure the hoses appropriately with P-fasteners or zip ties where appropriate. Final connections. You are just a few short but very important steps away from testing your new Conserver oil purification system. At this time, you should have completed all the hose runs and are ready to finalize the mounting of the conserver to the frame using the nuts supplied. Review. Now is a good time to review the work you have completed. Are all fittings and connections secure? Make sure all hoses are not located near heat sources. Make sure all hoses will not interfere with moving parts on the engine. Does the hood clear all hoses, fittings, and the conserver unit itself? Flow control valve settings. It's time to check the flow control valve located at the side of the conserver. Ensure that the valve is turned clockwise to the full off position. The valve has a locking screw ensuring that the valve remains in the selected position. You need to adjust the valve to the proper position. Startup and testing. Once you have completed all final checks, you are ready to start the vehicle's engine. Check the conserver, all hoses and fittings for visible leaks. If there are no leaks, then you're ready to road test the unit. Make sure to bring the engine fully up to normal operating temperature during the road test. Based on climate, adjust the duration of the road test as needed. A 5-minute road test should be sufficient. When you return from the road test, leave the engine idling and raise the hood to again inspect the conserver, fittings, and hoses for any sign of oil leaks. Keep the engine idling and remove the viewing port cover. It is safe to remove the viewing port plug while the vehicle's engine is running because the upper chamber of the conserver is not under pressure. Now, turn the locking screw counterclockwise on the side flow control valve and slowly open the valve until you can see oil begin to cover the interior surface. Depending on the age of the oil, it may be difficult to view, especially if the oil is new. At this point, you will need to insert a clean 4-inch wooden test stick into the port against the interior surface to test for the presence of oil. Is the oil flow consistent? The level must be below the viewing port opening. That is what you are looking for. Once you have adjusted the flow rate, you may then set the locking screw on the flow control valve and replace the viewing port cover. Next Generation Filtration Systems highly recommends an extended road test of 30 minutes or more after the oil flow has been set. Upon returning from the extended road test, you will once again need to verify that there are no leaks, the conserver is securely mounted, and the fittings have remained secure. At this time, Next Generation Filtration Systems recommends checking the oil flow by opening the viewing port. The flow rate may now be adjusted as needed. Maintenance and oil testing. As we noted earlier in the video, excluding filter changes, the conserver shouldn't require any maintenance beyond visual inspection of the unit, hoses, and fittings for oil leaks as a part of the regular periodic inspection of the engine and vehicle during operation. The aluminum body design of the conserver protects the system from liquids, dust, and dirt resulting from normal vehicle operation. Do not operate the vehicle with a damaged conserver system. The vehicle should be immediately pulled from service, or the conserver unit must be removed and the vehicle should return to its original configuration prior to the installation of the conserver. Oil samples. Oil samples should be taken by a qualified technician. Follow your normal company policy for oil sampling or take them at or before your normal oil change intervals. If you have not had a history of performing oil analysis, please understand that the warranty on the conserver oil purification system requires performing regular oil analysis. Although our systems have extended drainage periods to the hundreds of thousands of a mile, only regular oil analysis can determine when your vehicle needs an oil change. Oil samples should be only taken when the vehicle is up to normal operating temperature and then shut down. The sample should be taken either immediately after shutdown or within the first 20 minutes after shutdown. Samples taken after that period risk returning inaccurate results. Where should you take the sample? The sample may be taken from several locations on the engine. Next Generation Filtration Systems recommends drawing the oil out of the engine oil dipstick tube using a handheld vacuum pump. Always use caution when handling hot engine fluid. Important reminders about filter replacement on the conserver. It looks like your installation is complete and your vehicle is mission ready with a conserver oil purification system. Before we go, we want to walk you through the steps of replacing the conserver internal filter and remind you of how important this maintenance step is to the health of your new system. Filter replacement should occur every 2,000 operating hours on the engine from the time the conserver was installed or from the last conserver filter replacement. This is once a year or when oil analysis requires a change. Failure to replace the conserver internal filter as noted above will diminish the ability of the conserver to filter fine particulates from the oil and may eventually lead to poor oil flow through the system or could eventually lead to a malfunction of the system not covered by the manufacturer's warranty. Replacing the conserver filter. To replace the filter, place an oil catch pan under the conserver. Oil sitting in the system will drain out. Use a strap wrench to unscrew the base of the conserver. Replace the cylindrical filter with a new filter. Replace the base cover and tighten into place with a strap wrench. Check the vehicle's oil level. Add oil as needed to bring the reservoir back to its proper level according to the engine manufacturer's specifications. Troubleshooting. You won't find any moving parts on the conserver, so troubleshooting should be a breeze and the system should stay trouble-free for years. If you find yourself with an issue, feel free to call a member of the Next Generation Filtration Systems technical team. Congratulations on installing the Conserver oil purification system on your equipment. You are one step closer to keeping the environment and your budget in the green.